Hey there, this is Greg Spiro, and this is my weekly piano jazz masterclass series. Last week we talked about the time stack. That was in response to a Weebid question where somebody asked me about rhythm and time. Today I'm responding to another Weebid question where somebody has said, hey Greg, could you do a deeper dive into swing to follow on the time stack video? I'm looking at all of your questions that you have for me on greg.weebid.app, so you can go there to submit any other ones for me, and you can also crowdfund my answers to those if you really want me to do them. It's a great way of creators monetizing our educational content, and I'm using it for myself and also helping other creators to use it. So what is swing? It's kind of elusive if you don't really know the mechanics of it. You know that if you hear it, little example of swing. You know that that's swinging. But the question is, why does that sound swinging? Why does that have a good feel? And why does that, what is it about that time that gives it that specific characteristic that you can date back to the earliest jazz repertoire? And even before that, actually. There's swing in some classical too, but we're going to be mostly talking about jazz today. Swing, the most basic version of what swing is, can be described as taking a subdivision of eighth notes. So you have eighth note, and then the next eighth note, and you take that second eighth note and you push it back just a little bit. It can resemble triplets. You know, if I'm playing like 1, 2, 3, 4, it can often sound like 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. It falls a lot closer to the triplet than straight eighth notes, but it's actually not exactly on the triplet, because you can have a really heavy swing like that's actually further from the triplet, or you could have a lighter swing that's a little bit shorter than the triplet. So it's not exactly the triplet, but it's pushing that second eighth note back some degree and having it be consistently back that same degree. So we're going to dig into that a little bit in this video. Okay, for those of you who are total nerds like me, you'll want to pull up your DAW and look at your playing in a MIDI map. See here, it's showing my MIDI notes on there, and it's going by at 120 beats per minute. I'll turn on the click in just a minute so you can hear it. And this is subdivided into straight eighth notes. So check this out. We have the click on here, and you can see if I play, that's the quarter notes. And if I play, it's pretty even. So that's what you'll find in classical music. So for example, a Bach piece. Etc., etc. See how it's like pretty straight in there. Now, I'm going to change this to a triplet grid. So now see there are 3 lines in between every eighth note, every quarter note. See that lines up with those lines. So if I swing something now, let's see if I did that same piece and gave it a swing. You know, sounds a little cheesy because it's classical music being played with a swing. But if I were to then go to like, you know, normal jazz style. So you'll notice on there, let's actually go back and examine this a little bit. If you look at this, see on that last thing I was playing, that last little bit where I was playing on the offbeats, if it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, bop, 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 that's on the second of the 3 notes that you'll find in the 3 subdivisions in a triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. You're normally playing on the 3rd of those subdivisions as the primary subdivision, and you can also play triplets in their entirety, but the actual swing is found when you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And see, that's where you can see this is the 1, and then this is the and it's pushed all the way to that triplet there, and then the 1, which I didn't play, and then the and. If we go back a little earlier to what I was playing, see, this is when I was playing on the 1, and the lead-ins start right at that next that triplet right before the 1. Okay, so now let's take a look at what it would look like if I were to do an even heavier swing. So this is further to the next beat than the actual triplet. So here you can see there's the 1, and then this is even further to the right from the triplet. And here's the 1, and this is even further to the right from the triplet. And the 1, and further to the right. So that's a really heavy swing, and it's still a swing. You know, you can, and you'll hear that in, well, a lot of different contexts. Oscar Peterson is one of the best at that really, really heavy swing. And then, if I were to want to play a swing not quite on the triplet, but a little bit before the triplet, but not quite straight, it would sound like this. Etc., etc. So let's take a look at that now. So see, here's my 1. See, and there's something to note about this. I've naturally practiced. Well, I've listened a ton, and I've practiced swing a ton. So I do this natural thing where if the swing is straighter, I actually lay it back a little bit, because it's gonna sound more swinging if you're a little bit behind the beat if you're playing straight, closer to straight 8th notes. So now if you look at this, my 1 is actually a little bit behind the beat there, pretty consistently, but my and is a little bit ahead of the triplet. See, it's ahead of the triplet, ahead of the triplet. If I were to change this to an 8th note grid, you could see it's still behind the 8th note. So see, there's my 1 there, but this is like a little bit behind the 8th note, and my 1, which is late, and then a little bit behind the 8th note. In fact, if you look at the mathematics of this, they almost even out to be straight in relation to each other, but pulled back behind the beat a little bit. And you'll notice this in players like Brad Meldau, he's just impeccable at being super, super precise in hitting hitting the same consistency, so the same distance between each note, but then pulling it back a little bit behind the bar line in the exact same amount every time. So yeah, this is something I use in my own practice. Record yourself and then listen back to yourself. So play this passage. I would actually play and listen to this passage, and then examine what it sounds like compared to what it looks like, because it's really what it sounds like that matters in the end. But if you can diagnose whether or not you're actually accurate in terms of consistency specifically, either being behind the beat by the exact same amount every time, or having the exact same amount of swing every time, whether it's straight on the triplets or a little bit behind the triplet or a little bit ahead of the triplet, if you can maintain that consistency and look and confirm visually that you're able to do it and listen to it, you'll be able to make correlations between what you see and what you hear. And then when you go into a setting where you're just hearing, you'll be able to recognize what you've learned when you're looking and examining yourself from a visual perspective. So that's a basic overview of swing. I'm going to play you out a little bit with a couple examples. You know, I was giving you like the... So, you know, that's basic swing. And then you have like, even when in this song that Herbie does, you can hear he's swinging in it. That's the more like straight eighth note, but behind the beat a tiny bit. And then, you know, that's also derived from Latin rhythms. You know, you have your basic like... You know, you have that like... There's a different swing to Brazilian music. I'm just kind of riffing off here. And then you have your, if you're doing like stride piano... etc., etc. And then if you're playing faster, also like... etc. So that's a little overview of swing for you. Let me know if you have any other questions for me. You can go to my Weebid page at greg.weebid.app, and I will be answering your questions on there. If you want to support me as a creator and educator, you can bid on the ideas, which means that you're pledging a small amount of money, kind of like a Kickstarter, that you only pay when I do the video. So when I deliver the video to you is the time when that money goes through, whether it's $1, $10, $5 million, whatever you want to pay me for a video. That's it. Thank you guys very much. Happy practicing. I hope that you got something out of this, and let me know if you did in the comments. Thank you. Bye.